Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Wayne County. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Wayne County. I'm Gene Barnes. I'll be your worship associate. We are a diverse congregation that welcomes you as you are, regardless of your age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, economic status, or physical ability. We come together to seek a deeper meaning and understanding from each other and the world around us. Your presence here today is a gift that brings us closer to that understanding. We are an active community that lives its values beyond the hours of Sunday service. I would call your attention to the following. Camp is coming to the fellowship building. There will be changed or limited building use over the next 2 weeks. From July 20th through the 27th, there will be a gradual transformation of most spaces of the building into the setup for summer camp for the UURE community. That means you'll see decorating projects begin to pop up in rooms that you may be meeting in. Also, for the safety of our children and youth, the building is closed to all people except camp participants and staff after the worship on Sunday, July 28th, for the rest of the day, and then Monday through Friday, July 29th through August 2nd, from the hours of 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Please see the Friday email to recall these specific times. Please join us for the vegan potluck Tuesday, July 23rd in the lobby at 6:15. Please bring a vegan dish to share along with your own table service. If you have any questions, please reach out to Karen Armstrong. Please take a look at the back of your order of service for more information regarding events and activities taking place at the UUFWC. If you'd like to find out more about our activities, feel free to ask Karen Skubik, our membership coordinator.
Thank you, Jean. In years past, we used to ask visitors and people that haven't been around in a while to stand up, but we're not doing that anymore, and we can't do it today because there's too many of you. It's so great to see so many of you, but I am going to welcome the Wild Woodwinds. I hope I said that right because I kept thinking Woodwind Wild. So Kathy and Annie and Marty and Jay, thank you for performing here today. But we also have to welcome the Dr. Reverend Elaine Strawn for coming back and providing the service today. So thank you very much. Yeah. So it's great to see so many of you folks that we haven't seen in a while. You know, some have been in the country of Georgia and are now back. Where is Emma? I shouldn't call her out, but I have to call one out here. So it's good to have so many of you here. I hope you get to greet some of your friends you haven't seen in a while over coffee, and I'd be happy to talk to any of you as well after the service. Thank you for all coming today.
Good morning. We come together. Actually, I come to see all of you. Because it's just so great to look at you. And it's so great when you look at one another. Because we come here to bless one another, to remind one another of our strengths and our gifts, to hold one another up when we're down, and to celebrate with one another when we're in our joys. Thank you for being here this morning. I've been retired for just long enough that I know that there are other things to do on a Sunday morning. And thank you for choosing this one. May this place be blessed with our combined energy and wisdom and knowledge and deep, deep love.
Our chalice lighting this morning is Sparks by Reverend Dr. Elaine Strawn. The sparks from each of us unite to create this flame. Our combined energies produce light in any darkness when we come together with our wisdom, our open hearts, our boldness. Together, we bless this sacred time. Let us now rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn. The music is in the gray hymnal number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Compassion and strength, gather
What a rowdy crowd, Gene. I must not be in a Quaker meeting. Where am I? All of us have had weeks. I know we have. We have had weeks that have been filled with joy, and we have had weeks that have made us pull our hair out. We have each had our own week. And so we hold all of those thoughts. And remember that we always have this place to come back to for support, for understanding, for deep listening, for encouragement. And so we bless one another in that way. And Jean, I'm lost. Tell me what we do next. We share our joys and concerns, but how do we do that? Stones in the water, over there. This is what I love about Unitarian Universalist. It's always a group experience, and we always come out knowing more than we knew when we went in. And that's why we're here. If anyone would like to share a joy or a sorrow, please put a stone in the bowl. We'll get there. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, we'll get there. Our joys and concerns are really very, very serious, and we hold them deeply. And so please take this time to think about those, to take a stone, and let that stone represent your joy or your sorrow as they mingle together in the bowl. While we sing Spirit of Life.
Our faith is centered on the belief that we can make this world a better place for all who dwell in it. In order to realize that vision, we need both the motivation and the means. Your donation helps the community put its faith in action by supporting our programming and facilities. This morning and throughout the month of July, donations that are not designated for another purpose will be split with the Worcester Hope Center. The Worcester Hope Center provides food, clothing, haircuts, and hygiene products to over 3,500 families in the Wayne County area annually. The offering will now be taken and gratefully accepted. Please join in the dedication of our offering. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
There are two readings for this morning. The first, the ancient reading, was recoined by Starhawk, professor at Matthew Fox's theological school in California, but it's an ancient reading from earth-centered traditions. I am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars and the mysteries of the waters. I call upon your soul to arise and come unto me, for I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe. From me all things are created, and unto me they must return. Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor, humility, and mirth and reverence within you. And if you seek me, if you seek to know me, know that your seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery. For if that which you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you from the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end of desire. And from a wonderful book that I just discovered, recommended by an agricultural librarian that many of you know, Soil, A Story of a Black Mother's Garden, Dr. Camille Dungy writes this. By what standard have I measured intelligence? Describing fish intelligence for Australian Geographic, Peter Emeritus, the science writer, says, we tend to equate ancient with primitive, clinging to, that's not the one I wanted to start with. Let me go back. Breathe deeply, and we'll all be in this together. When I showed my student Jess a video of the truck dumping an SUV-sized load of soil in what appeared to be the middle of the street, she observed my delight and laughed when my daughter Kaylee noted how admirably cars shifted course around the road's new obstacle. Next, she noticed Ray, my husband, emitting what might have been the world's longest, deepest, most exasperated sigh. This, too, is a way of measuring love. How deep are our sighs? How do we learn to stand beside people whose actions and attentions we can't fully fathom? Even as the world dumps a pile of crap and dirt and shredded promise just outside our door. And now to the other reading. In the Bible that I was raised reading, God created the earth and the heavens and the oceans and man and women and all the plants and beasts of the land and the sky in 6 days. Skip Nold isn't here, is he? I knew that because he would, is he? No, see? Oh, Skip, I know you'd be standing up right now and objecting. Fast, by my reckoning, even if, as Muir wrote, with God 1,000 years is a day. Perhaps God's need for speed in the creation is the root of the desire for quick results that entices me to use heavy machinery to clear the rock from my yard rather than my slow, manual method, as if it might be a mortal imperative to finish the job as quickly as I can. First, God divided dark from light and night from day. And then, on the third day, he separated the water from the land. I'm editing as I go. It's a long story, you might remember. On the fifth day, God looked to the skies and to the waters. The men who compiled the Bible report said that he created fish to fill the waters and monsters for the seas as well. Maybe those would be the whales and the sperm whales. Then came the sixth day when God made the beasts of the land, assuming he already had made manifest the elephant seal and the green turtle and so forth. What happened next set into motion the beginning and the end of the world. God made human beings in God's image, to rule over all the beasts of the land and the sky and the water, to have dominion over everything. God made human beings, as the Good News Translation puts it, to live over all the earth and bring it under control. That was the sixth day, after which the Bible claims God rested. In the Bible that I read, God also, rather than dwelling on the violence of our imagination and actions, the one who I am also teaching my daughter claims a fundamental rule: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And Jesus is said to have said, this is the greatest and most important commandment. The second most important commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. Thus speaketh the word of Dr. Camille Dundee. Holy curiosity. We are a questioning people. That's just who we are by nature. So I wonder what you're curious about. More importantly, what makes you seen and heard? What is the question that in your life you would most love someone to ask you? That they haven't asked you yet, maybe? But this question is the one that would give away who you are. What is that question? Curiosity could be many things. It can be prying. I was hearing a story the other day of little girls on softball teams being coached by one of the mothers who went up to the daughter and said, "Why doesn't your mother shave her legs?" That's not holy curiosity. That's prying. When I do a little research to help find out how I can make my compost faster, that's curiosity. But it's not holy curiosity, it's information. It will grow things, it's wonderful information, but it's not holy curiosity. So for instance, did you know that an African-American man named John Albert Burr patented the first non-clogging rotary mower in 1899? That's information. But it's an information that kind of leads you further into investigating and wondering and looking at larger pictures. It's that kind of curiosity. Here's another one. Did you know that John Muir married a wealthy concert-level pianist who couldn't play when he was writing his books? Curiosity. Sometimes it's complicated. I love John Muir. I had to scratch my head a little bit on that one. It makes me go deeper. Our curiosity leads us down stories. But my friend and colleague, Reverend Bruce Marshall, wrote a book in the 1990s called Holy Curiosity, like a sacred curiosity, like something that goes deeply, deeply into who we are, that in effect invites us to become and invites us to be more. So as I was reading that book, the story that came to me comes from the Christian New Testament, from Mark and all the synoptic Gospels, but it's the story of Jesus walking along with his followers into a cemetery. And in this cemetery is a man who is disabled. Now, this is the Gadarene demoniac story. That's kind of a giveaway how serious this is. So this is a man who has been thrown out of culture after culture, after room after room, after group, living in the cemetery with his hair a mess. He's all dirty. He's filled with skin diseases. He's naked. He's frothing at the mouth. And what does Jesus do? Jesus walks right up to that man, not seeing the disease that is the external presentation, whatever it is. In the Gospels, it was called demons, but we know it's deeper than that. Jesus walked right up to that person and said, "Tell me your name. Tell me your name." Go deeper than this stuff which is out here. Go into the core of this person and ask that question. A question that invites us to be all that we can be, but to be. And with that, of course, I don't really care for the rest of the story, but with that, all of the demons were cast out and went into pigs who were very smart animals. I really don't like the rest of the story, but the intensity of Jesus' question, the ability to look deeper and deeper still. There's an old Girl Scout song, go wider, look wider still. We've had a little bit of difficulty in Unitarian Universalism lately, and that is kind of a conversation about what do we do with our principles and what do we do with our shared values. They're called shared values now. What do we do with that? And so I looked them up and compared them both. And in terms of this holy curiosity, of course, in the previous schemata, it is all about a responsible search for truth and meaning. And that we've still got that. In the shared values, it could be pluralism, which they define as we are all sacred beings, we are diverse in culture and experience and theology, and we learn from one another. That's about the same thing. And transformation. That's why we're on this responsible search for truth and meaning. That's why we're asking questions. That's why we're involved in this whole thing in the first place. Albert Einstein said, "One cannot help but be in awe when one contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It's enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity." I'm sorry I'm looking at notes so much today. I'm used to prancing, but I was aware that if I didn't use my notes, we could still be here at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So it's a better plan, let me tell you. So what do I see and what don't I see? Because that's a piece of curiosity. Christian Cooper, famous birder from Central Park, and you'll remember that whole story, clued me into the fact that if I look at a bluebird, I'm not seeing the color that's really there. I'm seeing the color that's there combined with the sun that's shining on it, and that's why I think it's a bluebird. That's interesting, isn't it? I've discovered a new news. So Cindy Slater called me up this week and said, "This had better be hopeful." I'm working on it because I hope not to be run out of town, but. So I've discovered a new news source. So I read World Press because it combines different modes. And of course I watch PBS and I do those kinds of things to get news. But this new one is called Fix the News, and you probably already know about it. But it is trying to fix our logarithms about what we're called to. So if regular news media is upping their subscriptions by understanding that what we're most interested in is kind of catastrophe and destruction, Fix the News is about what didn't make it in the newspaper. So here, let me share with you just a couple of things. According to Amnesty International, 3/4 of the world has outlawed the death penalty in one form or another. From the New York Times, Boston records a 78% reduction in homicides in just 1 year. From the World Bank, Senegal gets $200 million to improve water and sanitation services. How are you feeling? A little better? A Paris court could mark a turning point in international justice. Last year alone, the number of cases brought before national courts for international crimes rose by 33%. We're starting to hold world leaders accountable. That's from the Christian Science Monitor. From the NOAA fisheries, the Pacific bluefin tuna rebounds a decade ahead of schedule. There is more protected land in the Amazon than officially recorded. In the rainforest itself, 62.4% of land is under some sort of conservation, with indigenous territories accounting for 16%. Now, that's a little conflicted. Why are the indigenous folks not having a higher percentage of that? But at least it's being protected. Nigeria is set to ban single-use plastics with a nationwide ban on those plastics, which will begin in January, and also drafting a new policy to phase out plastics. So here's a trickier one. Indonesia has lifted 3 million people out of poverty in a decade, between March 2014 and March 2024, representing an annual reduction of about 300,000 individuals, primarily in rural regions. Now, I can read that, and I can be really happy about that. Or I can look at the wider statistic and see that it started with 28 million, and we're down to 25 million. So I can instead say there are still 23 million people in poverty. Or I could look at it and say every year for the past 10, 300,000 people in Indonesia are no longer in poverty. See what I mean? How am I processing what's coming my way? What am I grabbing onto? What am I letting go of? I had a conversation with a man from Kenya this week. And I said, "How are you?" And he said, "I'm really tired. I have to work from home on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're not allowed to work outside because of all the protests. I don't know whether you heard about that." And I said, "Yeah, I read the news, even here in Ohio." And what he said about it, though, was terrific, because he said, it is actually the Gen Zers. So this is a boomer talking to a Gen X about the Gen Z. And he says, the Gen Z generation is out in the streets every Tuesday and Thursday because they've had it with this tribalism. It doesn't matter that the president didn't sign that financial package. It matters that we need to change how we elect people. It matters how we need to figure out how we put our rules together. Isn't that a great story? I didn't read about that in the news, but a friend told me about that. Am I doing okay, Cindy? Are you feeling a little better? Okay. I don't want to be sued. Last week, Reverend Julian Soto, I'm trying to be accountable with my time. Reverend Julian Soto talked at Summer Institute about ways that we can come back into community, ways that we can be present with all of our differences, ways that we can build bridges. She quoted in a piece that she wrote later, she quoted Pedagogies of Crossing, Meditations of Feminism, Sexual Politics, Memory, and the Sacred. And it's Jackie Alexander that she's quoting, who just recently died, the late Jackie Alexander. She argues this about the power of our relationships to dismantle oppression. We would have to unlearn an impulse that allows mythologies about each other to replace knowing about one another. We would need to cultivate a way of knowing in which we direct our social and cultural and psychic and spiritually marked attention on each other. We cannot afford to cease yearning for each other's company. I'm going to read it again because it's worth it. In order to dismantle all kinds of oppression, meaning all those things that divide us, even though we're all in this game together, we would have to unlearn an impulse that allows mythologies about each other to replace knowing about one another. We would have to cultivate a way of knowing in which we direct our social, cultural, psychic, and spiritually marked attention on each other. We cannot afford to cease yearning for each other's company. I have a really good friend who happens to be African American, and she's a gardener. But that's not the story I was going to tell. The story, gave me quite a different vision. I'll get back to that. So this week, Jane and I were hosting a photo shoot for our neighbor who's running for Ward 8 in Akron. And he invited about 5 or 6 people in on this photo shoot. And they did it in our yard. And I don't have much grass because I don't really like grass. And so as we were talking about grass and mowing grass and where we can do it and where we can't do it. And I made a comment about a couple blocks over. I think the culture there is you're not allowed to mow your own lawn. It would seem that you're poor if you mow your own lawn. And this African-American woman said, I pay somebody to mow my own lawn. Now, I could have heard that as she's commenting about what I just said. But because of my African-American gardener friend, I understand that when you happen to be African-American, there's a little bit different history coming in here. Because African-Americans have been forced to work the land. So I'm saying, I don't want to live there where I don't have the choice to mow my lawn. She's saying, I want to prove that I don't have to mow my lawn anymore. But it was a very short conversation of just a few words. But in order to meet, in order to have community, we both need to have a grasp on what that means. And that's not easy. It's not just learning a different language anymore. It's learning deeply, deeply what one another's stories are and how do we come to that. We come to that, I think, with holy curiosity. So I'm going to close with Reverend Soto's instructions for how we build this community together again. Making amends to friends, to people who aren't friends yet, can transform our relationships and our world. Being kind, offering forgiveness, joining, knowing other people's stories. It is not too late for us to ask. Our right relationships and our best right actions are our clearest ways to liberation. So I want to say one more thing about that. When I was in seminary in D.C. and we would read the Washington Post, we knew, and I don't mean to diss the Washington Post, God knows it's help, but we would know that whatever the headline was, if it was a little weird, we would wonder, what is it that they don't want us to know? Look at this shiny object. And so we're told that we live in a culture right now that its shining object is, oh my gosh, what terrible thing just happened. But what Fix the News helps me do is build into that curiosity, what's under that story? How can I look a little deeper? How can I find out what the people who aren't even necessarily in power are doing as we help one another? We're important. In our daily lives, we're important. That's important to know. Václav Havel. Remember the first prime minister, the first president of the Czech Republic, who knew what hell was because he had lived through it. Hope is a state of mind, not of the world. Hope in this deep and powerful sense is not the same as joy that things are all going well, or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously heading for success. But rather, it is an ability to work for something because it is good, not because it stands for its chance to succeed. I want to tell you, if you don't know that truth deeply, go out and garden. You put something in the ground, you put the right mulch in, you do the research, and it looks at you and says, maybe I'll grow. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll grow over there. Or maybe I'll be a different color. This is a process. We can look at it as creativity and as a challenge. We can look at it together. Or we can crawl under the covers and hope that the next 10 years go very fast. I hope that you pull down the covers and you go out and talk to your neighbors and you meet as many different people as you can and you share that with them your holy curiosity and invite them to share their holy curiosity with you. I know you. You're really good at this. Do it for all of us, please. Let's sing a song. going to do something different this day. I'm going to stand out there, which I never used to do. But I've been talking at you for a long time, and I want to be able to shake your hand and hear from you. Not, God, that was a long sermon, or it was a good one. Not that. And not, how are you, Elaine? But I haven't seen you in so long. I'd like to know how you are. And there are lots of you that I don't know, and I'd like to know you.
Offering Light by Reverend Dr. Elaine Strawn. We extinguish this candle, but the light continues, and its impact grows as we carry its brightness into the world, which can seem dark. Humbly share some of its glow as you walk into this week, listening, encouraging, and expanding your own vision. May it be so.
Thank you.